We're going to talk now about 10 tips for invoking the grateful recipient. I believe in using a cycle of successful relationships. Now, I'm sure you've heard about this before, probably with words like cultivation and solicitation and stewardship. I think that our words are containers for power, and the words we use and choose are so very important in our honorable and noble work in development and fundraising. So I prefer to think about creating that joyful giver and then working with that joyful giver until I know exactly what dollar amounts for what impact they're comfortable with. And then I'll speak that artful ask. And once they've said yes to that artful ask, then I have what I think is the most important part of our cycle, and that is invoking the grateful recipient. That is expressing our gratitude for what they've done for us. And that stewardship happens by, of course, what we do with their gift when it comes in, making sure it gets into the right fund, making sure it's used for the purpose with which they want, etc. Also, how we work with that donor individually, how we steward that giver of ours, the things that we do. And we'll be talking about that a little bit more today. But finally, it's also having that culture of stewardship, having an organization that says, saying thank you and showing those donors the impact of their giving is every bit as important, if not more important, than looking for our new donors or working with our donors for the next ask. That stewardship is vital and important for us. So let's now look at 10 tips for invoking the grateful recipient. Now, these are not in and of themselves everything you should be doing. These are kind of above and beyond the many good things I know you're already doing. So, number one, the power of one. What do I mean by that? Well, even if you are in an organization that maybe doesn't put the emphasis on being a grateful recipient that you'd like to see. Maybe you don't feel that your time saying thank you is always viewed as important as time that you're doing something else, like finding that next donor or speaking an ask. You always have the power of one. You always have the opportunity to do your good stewardship. So don't forget, you have that power of one. Tip number 2, make it fun. How many of you love to spend time with somebody who's boring? Oh, no hands went up. You know, I like to be around fun people. I like to generate fun. I like to be around fun people. And the folks that are investing in your organization, you bet they're doing it because they believe in your mission. Number one, you bet. But they're also doing it because you become familiar to them. You become family. You become important to them. Make those touches fun. Make understanding the impact of their giving fun for them. Number 3, brainstorm with staff and others about creative ways to say thank you. Brainstorm with staff and others. You know what this does? Is if you maybe do have a situation where there are other people on the staff that don't think this whole donor relationship building is their job, this is a perfect way to engage them. Say to them, what do you think would be a good way for me to say thank you to Joe? What do you think about this as a way? Engage them in your process of saying thank you. And you will find that then they begin to understand what you're doing and the fact that they are important in the relationships that we build with those major donors. So brainstorm with your staff and others about creative ways to say thanks. Number 4, engage partners in the touches. As you have done this creative brainstorming, you will also find that there are people who say, I could do that. I could do that for you. Yeah, you could. It's the perfect place to have your board members involved. It's the perfect place to have other donors involved. Engage them in those touches, those stewardship touches, those thank you touches, those impact touches. Whatever they are, Let them help you. You cannot do this all by yourself. You need your partners, be they your board members, your faculty, other donors, other staff members, volunteers, the people who have been recipients of the giving. You need those partners. Help them make those touches for you and with you. Number 5, quarterly touches with RAPs. What's a RAP? Well, it's a relationship action plan. And this is something really for your very top major donors. At least quarterly, I want as part of this plan to be an impact touch. At least quarterly. And what this plan does is it assures that at least those touches are happening quarterly because they're written in your plan. So make sure you have a written plan that includes a touch at least quarterly for those major donors. Number 6, communicate with them in a style they like or a style that's a surprise. Now that seems a little bit of a conflict, doesn't it? Well, this is what I mean by this. If they are really email people, certainly communicate with them through email and say, just thinking about you today, I saw Billy and I realized that he wouldn't have this opportunity without your support. So I just wanted to say thank you. So they're used to email, but maybe they never get a written note in the mail. So surprise them with a thinking about you today, just wanted to tell you again how important your giving is for us, period. So surprise them with a style that they're not always used to getting. All right, number 7, create your unique system. Now, I've got a few examples down here. And this is what I mean. Create a system for yourself. Something that's fun for you to do and be a grateful recipient. Let me give you a few examples. I have on my desk something I call my gratitude bowl. I don't have time all the time, right when something happens, to stop and write a note or stop and send an email. So sometimes I'll take an article or somebody's business card that I wanted to make sure to thank for something, and I'll throw it in this gratitude bowl. And when I do have that 15 minutes of time, instead of playing free cell or instead of going on Facebook, I pick something out of my gratitude bowl and I deal with it and I get to be thankful. Now, let me tell you another thing about this gratitude bowl is it has no deadline. If I put somebody's business card in there a year ago and I'm just getting around to it, it never goes out of date. Joe, just thinking back to when I met you at the conference and you were so kind for me and helped me so much. Marcy. Joe, I found this article in the paper where I see that the local Kiwanis gave you an award. This is so richly deserved. I've had this all this time, and today I am just as grateful for your generosity in so many ways as I was the day I saw this in the paper. Congratulations. Thank you for your support of us. So, a bowl. Some people do what they call 3 by 3, and they do 3 emails, 3 letters, 3 phone calls, and they set that up on a schedule. It depends on your own personality style, but find something that works for you. There was a woman at a conference that I attended, and she pulled this big plastic bag out of her purse, stuffed with different kinds of cards. And she used those cards whenever something happened to immediately write a note. She kept it with her at all times. Now, I don't know if the fellas want to haul them around in their purses, but it worked for her. So find your own unique style. We are at number 8. Create and execute group touches. Okay, so we can't always do everything we want to do with each and every donor. But I worry about them. So I have a bunch of donors that maybe aren't my most major donors, but I want to know that they're being taken care of too. So from an organization standpoint, I can either select a smaller group, maybe by the project they supported, or maybe by their age, or maybe by the fact that they all have children in a certain program. So I can segment a small group and set up something that says thank you to them as a group. Or I can look at it more organizational wide. Maybe everybody who's given at a certain level to anything in our organization, I could set up a group activity for that. My friend Gail Perry likes to have parties on the porch. She says you don't have to clean the whole house that way. Works for me. So whatever you can do to get a little group together and say thank you makes those touches more creative and makes sure that they happen with more people, and it makes sure that you focus your time on your top prospects and not individually doing some gratitude with your smaller donors. So these are very important. We're at number 9. Ta-da! You know, it doesn't matter what you do. If you don't do it from the heart, it's not going to work. From the heart to the heart. From the heart to the heart. I think you would agree with me that any person, regardless of their age, from a little child to an older person, can smell and feel a fake 100 miles away. And part of being relevant and dynamic long-term in this honorable and noble profession is to always come from a place of authentic and genuine thanks. This is vitally important. And finally, number 10, no soft asks. Say thank you and stop. Say thank you and stop. You know, it is so important for us to let those donors know we appreciate their investment in us without saying, thanks for your gift, and oh, by the way, I'll leave this pledge card, or thanks for your gift, and boy, I hope we continue to have this partnership long into the future. That's your handout again. No soft asks. Say thank you, mean thank you, and let that thank you lay on the person that you're talking to in a warm and wonderful way that says, you are so very important to us.